Brewing with the Bear in part 10. We're going to be talking about transferring into bottles or storage units on how best way to travel, things like that. Some of the things we're first going to do though is show you that, hey, the first two things that we started to ferment, well, this one is almost complete. As you can see, there's hardly any froth or foam up on top. That's a good sign that a lot of the yeast has been used up. Now, one of the things you might want to do is try and take a test, take a sip, see what it's like. And you're like, you know what, it's still not alcoholic enough. Then what you do is you add more sugar, brew more yeast in, and continue the fermentation process. So you can do it 2, 3 more times. Here, you can see it's actually changed a little bit. It's not being circulating as much. It's also a little bit milky. Now, that's going to be because of the amount of dead yeast and everything like that. It's still fermenting very slowly now. So this is the part, like I said, same thing as the first one. They pretty much have almost the same amount. This has no sugar in it at all. So sometimes it might take longer because it's taking the natural sugar and fermenting, so it has to break it down a little bit more. So these two, you pretty much do the same process. As you can see, it's still percolating just a little bit, if you saw the bubble, and you just try it out. Like I said, if it's good, you're ready to transfer it into a bottle. If not, you can do a second fermentation again. And when you do that, you actually can just keep it in the same bottle because you don't have a lot of excess floating debris or debris, i.e. the dead yeast in the bottom, and you can just do it all over again. So set those over to the side, and we will focus now on bottling. Here are some examples of the type of bottles that you can use. Now, you can still use, if you have a lot, say you're making the 5 gallon, 6.5 gallon, and you have 4.5 gallons, you can use a gallon jug. There's nothing that says you can't. Make sure, of course, you clean it out well, and a nice cap that has a nice little compression washer in top will also ensure that it will seal nicely. Now, what you can do too is after the first fermentation is good, you transfer it. Then after a couple weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, you want to see if it's still fermenting or anything. All you have to do is just slightly turn it and you see if there's a ch. Then you can close it back up. Or turn it just a little bit and just hear if it goes a slight hiss. And you're like, you know what? I want carbonation in here, so I'm going to close it. And now I know that there's still a little bit of fermentation going on that's creating a nice little carbonation. And you can set that to the side. Any other bottle that you have is great. Here's one with a screw top. Okay, I'm going to go and jump directly over to one that has no screw top. Most of these comes in 2 forms. One is specifically cork only, and these types have a little round lip on them because they're designed to have a bottle cap put on there and compressed. I'm not a big fan of those, so I don't buy them. But these two are ones where you pour it in. Most of these do not have a compression seal. So when you put it on, you make sure you tighten it really tight to make sure if you want any carbonation to stay in. Clear bottles are a little easier, so you can see when you clean them that they're fully cleaned, and that's good. Now for these, you need a corker. You can buy corks. Most corks will come in a standard size. Some bottles are going to have a smaller opening. Now, as I said, with this bottle, which is specifically designed for a bottle cap top, the mouth on the bottle is actually smaller than a normal cork. So you can either buy smaller corks or you can put normal corks in, but you're probably going to get some of them that are going to shear part off. That's going to be fine because the rest of the cork is going to stay in and it's going to be fine. You cannot, and I repeat very drastically, do not cork screw top bottles. They're not designed, they're really thin and they will shatter, either by compressing or after you get the cork in, any type of movement, if the neck of the bottle gets hit, it could break it from there. So if it's a screw top, use the screw top to cover it back on. Do not try and put a cork in it. Okay? Now, to make a bottle, or how to cork a bottle, you take one of these. There's an opening right here with a plunger. You set it in here like that. Put it in so it's nice and straight. These are usually multi-sized, so you can use smaller corks or larger corks. So if you don't get it directly in, you're going to be pushing on the cork sideways. So you always want to make sure you get the cork in straight and then push it down to make sure that the plunger is going to hit it directly. Set it directly on top of the bottle. Press down until the clamps get onto the bottle. And here you can try and go straight. I actually like to go a little bit further in, make sure you don't pinch yourself, and use your forearms Oh, that one went pretty good. As you can see by the top, the cork is a little bit bigger than the hole in the bottle, so it bubbles up around the edges. And that's fine. All you got to do, either take a knife or your fingernail, scrape that off. Close enough. And your bottle is fully corked. Take it anywhere, keep it for a long period of time. As I had mentioned before, one of the things that some people do is after they put it in one of these bottles, they put a balloon on it to do simply the last bit of fermentation. The bubble or the balloon will start to pop up. And by the size of the balloon, you can tell, oh man, there's still a lot of sugar in there. It's going to take a while for it to all go away. And you're going to get a non-carbonated wine, mead, whatever you're fermenting. I don't like doing that. I like a little bit of carbonation, a little bit of a fizz. And it also, I'm not going to say some people have a latex allergy or anything like that, but if anyone does, if you do not clean the bottle off real well and they start drinking out of it and you pass it around, who knows? So I just don't use a balloon. To me, it has really no high benefit. Now, the two types of bottles that I use a lot are the ones that have a cap already attached to it. These are great because the caps stay with it. They have a nice little rubberized gasket right here. Put it back on. If you're not finished, close it back up. It will not leak or anything. The two big sides of this. Number one, I like the colored bottles. It kind of gives it a nice little air of mystery. I put a label on. But you're not going to be able to see very well through it sometimes when you're trying to clean it. So you might be going in there cleaning the thing and you might have missed a spot right here. So when you clean them, you make sure that you clean them really, really well. These are also the most expensive. So if you give these away, do not expect them to come back. Or if you're just taking them to a party, make sure you get these back, because these, as I said, are the most expensive. And the last thing you want is to just lose 5 bottles, which could be anywhere between $15 and $20. So make sure you use these to keep track of them so you can get them back, and also make sure that you wash them very well. And best thing to do is, these are dishwasher safe, put them in the dishwasher, wash them that way. Also put them into a nice little soapy sink and let them just get all the air out of it so there's no bubbles, and just let it sit like that for about a good 10 minutes, and then just go to town cleaning it very well. One of the other nice things about this is if you put your product in here, you can open it up and you can tell whether it's still a little bit of if it's still fermenting, or if there's a gas. You can get rid of the gas and then immediately cap it, so there's not going to be any debris. Now, if you want to try, and that's why they do that with the balloons on these type of things, so they can get rid of it, and then they put the cork in. It's hard to go put the cork in, take it out, and then try and put a cork back in without any type of bacteria or debris going back in. So these are much better. Also, you can get just the gaskets. Say you've been using these a lot, and after like 3, 4, 5 years, they're starting to dry rot, they're starting to crack. You can just take them off and put new ones on, and you're good to go. I have never had one of these bottles break. This is the, I believe, 16 ounce, and this is the 33 ounce. This one is, I believe, amber. I believe there's cobalt blue, amber, and brown, and the rest are clear. So, as with everything, the tops are interchangeable. All you got to do is pull the side out, and you can replace the entire top. Like these, like I said, are still new to me, so I'll let you know how well they handle things and not get broken. These are nice and thick. It gets a little bit thin on top, so I'm a little curious about it, but I'm hoping for good things. And that's it. So for the last 2 weeks, we have talked about the basic stuff that you need to ferment. The most basic stuff is going to be an airlock, a stopper, some sanitizing solution to make sure everything is clean, and you need yeast. From there, if you want to have pretty much the complete kit, some of the things you're going to need is going to be nutrient that will help activate the yeast. You're going to need a siphon. You're going to need a funnel, a cleaning bowl, both with clean water and one for the sanitizer, and measuring spoons and measuring cups. That's pretty much going to be the main stuff that you're going to have, that you're going to clean. And of course, my mistake, some additional bottle sizes from 1 gallon to 5 to 6.5. It's all going to be how much do you want to expand the possibility of what you want to create. Start small, go big, do a whole assortment. We went through meads, we created ciders, we created wine. So, like starting next week, hopefully I'm going to have a weekly update. I'll show you anything that is still percolating. And if one's ready to transfer, we'll do a transfer day into the second fermentation. Beyond that, I'll be having some additional classes. So I'm going to try and look at Mondays and Wednesdays. Mondays will be new class day. So starting next Monday, I'll be doing shooting with the Baron. which is going to be all about shooting archery, some of the correct forms of aiming, what are some of the mistakes that are made, and why it happens. And then I'll tell you the fixes for it. Then on Wednesday, give you an update of the brewing. And then the following Monday, maybe we'll do some dancing, show you some history of the dance. Yeah, I'm not going to go into Lord of the Dance or anything like that. It's mostly going to be an understanding of English country dances, galliards, pavans, kind of how they got going, things like that. If there's a lot of them, we'll probably have multiple classes, which is kind of the goal, because there's a lot of information. And then probably when the weather starts getting good, we'll go outside and we'll do some fighting with the bear. We'll do some knife and axe throwing with the bear. All this other stuff. Now, one more thing, please continue to give me feedback. If you say, hey, do you know anything about this? Can you teach this class? I'll say, yes, I can, or I will do research and I will do my best. I do want to thank everyone that has responded. One of my old classmates, Kathy, even responded back saying, hey, we make our own plum wine. Oh man, I remember that from my dad from a long time ago. So it's nice to see that a lot of people are watching these. They're bringing up points that are nice, fond memories and stuff that they're still doing even from their parents' time. So that is pretty cool. One thing that one other person mentioned, and I'm sorry I forgot your name, mentioned that what he likes to do is, I believe, was put tea specifically in his wine. So I made the comment about making tea for your mead or for your cider to kind of blend that taste, or to add like maybe an extract, but a tea is also a very good thing that you can add after it's been fermented to allow for a nice non-harsh flavor blend. So great ideas. Thank you for bringing them up, and keep on bringing them up. My name's Eric Saturn, or Baron Ulrich in the SCA, and I want to thank you for being with me for the last 2 weeks, and we'll keep talking, keep you updated, and keep on having fun. Thank you very much.